Hello, everyone, to another episode of Twinning with me, Carburetor. Today we are going to be looking at a I don't even know what ship yet. I decided to let a random number generator show. I tried contacting so many people, and so many people wanted to see so many different things that it was literally like, holy crap, I don't know what to do. So here's what I did. I took all of the list over and I put it over here. And instead of going through and removing all the ones with red, if it's a ship that I think I can purchase, I'll go ahead and purchase it. If it's a ship that I haven't purchased yet, or if it's a ship that I have, I guess that's one that I'll be doing. I'll try and do a few of these actually really, really quick and kind of stagger them out just so that just due to the fact that right now you can reset commanders you can reset commanders for free and you can remove equipment for free. So it kind of makes it a little bit cheaper to do it now. So if you see ships that are over here in the gray that haven't been released yet in certain videos, that'll be the reason why. So please forgive that. But anyway, let's look at the random number generator here. I set it 1 to 44, so let's hit a number, and 23 is the one. If we go into the 23rd slot, we have the Minsk and the Leningrad. That is actually a ship I have not bought yet. Well, it's always an excuse to buy it. Alrighty here. So as you guys can see, I'm going to try a different format here. I kind of came up with this while I was down for a little bit. For those of you guys who don't know, I had gotten my COVID shot. And after I got my COVID shot, I wasn't necessarily sick, but I did not feel well. On top of that, I was working on the rear axle of my truck. So after everything was said and done for a day, I'd come up here, try and make a video, and I just, you know what, I'm just gonna play games today. I don't wanna try and make a video, and it ended up just becoming procrastinated. I try not to focus too much on my procrastination. Unfortunately, it kind of got the better of me. But anyway, as you can see, this different format here, I'm going to have a replay playing while I put the individual snaps of what we're talking about on top, so that we're only looking at those specific stats and we're not looking at the entire chart, and you guys aren't just listening to some boring guy ramble about stats. All right, let's start with survivability. As you can see, this is where the Leningrad starts out, and starts out with a point in its favor, and you guys will find out pretty quickly the Leningrad is, I'm kind of biased towards it, I'll just say. 15,200 on the Leningrad to 15,100 on the Minsk. That doesn't sound like a lot, but when we're talking about DDs, every point of health counts, especially when you get into brawls. I cannot tell you how many times I have come away from a brawl with 50 points of HP when they're dead. Of course, normally it ends up, I end up doing like 0 more damage for the rest of the game, but that's beside the point. Moving on to artillery, the Minsk actually makes a little bit of a comeback here with a 29 to a 28. Going on down, you can see we have an 18.6 second 180 degree dispersion time to the Leningrad's 27.7 second 180 time. Now, I will say that it's definitely not fun to try and keep guns on target in the Leningrad, but it's not impossible. It is still pretty easy to keep them on target, especially if you buff for turret rotation. Moving on to max dispersion, I actually have to give this to the Minsk. You can see the percentages based up there, and unfortunately, I neglected to do this before I made the little snap out here. But if you compare the percentages, if you get 95% of the 106 meter dispersion on the Minsk, which we have for the range down below, you actually get 100 meters. So there's 2 extra meters of dispersion on the Leningrad compared to the 106 meters of the dispersion on the Minsk. However, I have to say, it really didn't bother me that much. I've played the Leningrad a little bit here, and I didn't see too many of my shells flying off sideways. The same HE damage with 1900, same HE fire chance, same HE pen with 22 millimeters, same AP damage. Range goes to the Minsk with 12.2 to 11.6. Same AP velocity, same HE velocity, same HE DPM, same AP DPM. All right, let's move on to torpedoes. This is where the Leningrad kind of runs away with it. Leningrad 19 to Minsk 16. 180-degree turn time is the same with 7.2. Going on to the reload time, the Leningrad has a favor here with 92-second reload to 98-second reload. That doesn't sound like a lot, but 6 seconds is a big deal. It means you might be able to get another torpedo salvo off in a game where you might not be able to in the Minsk. Torpedo range, the Leningrad runs away with that one also with an 8.0 kilometer range to a 4.0 kilometer range. Torpedo damage, that goes to the Minsk with 17,933 compared to 15,100 on the Leningrad. I think that's actually a pretty fair trade when you consider the range increase, because you're going to put a lot more torpedoes on target in the Leningrad versus in the Minsk. Torpedo speed 65 knots to 60 knots. I really don't think that's that big of a deal. If you were to see torpedoes streaming across the water in front of you, I don't think you could tell the difference between 60 and 65. Even though that's about 10%, I don't think you could see the difference. Maybe a hardcore player could. I probably couldn't. Torpedo detect 1.3 kilometer to 1.2 kilometer. I don't think it's that big of a deal since the Minsks are traveling faster. I am actually going to say that the 1.3, you're probably going to have about the same time that you actually get to see the torpedoes versus the 1.2 kilometers. Moving on to depth charges, it's another strike against the Leningrad and for the Minsk. Depth charges rated 25 on the Minsk to 20 on the Leningrad. The biggest difference here is the number of bombs in a charge. You get 6 bombs to 4 bombs. That is quite a big deal when you're fighting off subs, because you want to be able to throw as many depth charges on the target as possible to try and cover as much area and do as much damage as possible, especially over the 2 charges, because you're going to have 12 bombs to 8 bombs. Moving on to AA defense, it goes to the Minsk technically, but I would actually prefer the Leningrads. You can see the AA rating is 38 on the Minsk to 35 on the Leningrad. However, if you go down to the actual continuous damage, 134 to 107, yeah, the Minsk runs away with that rating. However, the Leningrad has a notch in its favor with the range. There's been many times where I've been sitting in smoke in DDs, and that little bit of extra range has helped out a lot to try and fend off the swarm of any enemy aircraft. Same priority sector reinforcement, same instant damage, same action time, same prep time. Moving on to maneuverability, these ships are exactly the same. 43 knot top speed, 690 meters turning radius with 3.7 second rudder shift. Sorry, I botched that a little bit. It's kind of late at night here. Concealment goes to the Leningrad with a 7.3 kilometer range to a 7.7 kilometer range. That really helps. That's 4.4 kilometers. When you're trying to get your concealment down, every inch counts, especially when you're a torpedo boat like the Leningrad. The Minsk, I don't think it would be as big of a deal, but it is still something to consider. Equipment, pretty much the same across the board. Damage control party, 5-second action time with a reload of 40, infinite number of consumables. Smoke generator, 20-second action time, 85-second dispersion time, a 0.45 kilometer action radius with a reload of 160 seconds, 3 charges. Engine boost, 8% engine boost with 120-second action time, 120-second reload time, and 3 consumables. Now, I think I said at the front, I don't know because I've had to record this several times, but I have never compared 2 ships that are so similar yet so different. I should say I've yet to. These ships, I would play them 100% differently. The Leningrad is the replay that we're watching up above here, and in that, I would cruise around trying to pick out outliers, pick out ships that kind of get left behind, drop torps on them, maybe get to about 6 kilometers to drop those torps, and then turn and burn and get back outside of your concealment radius. With the Minsk, I would hide behind islands, wait for people to go past you. As they go past you, drop your torps, duck back behind the island, and you're clear. They're 2 very different ships. They're very similar, but they are very different. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to smash that like button. If you really liked it, make sure to subscribe. I'm always open to suggestions. However, I think I'm going to stick with the Pinwheel of Death for right now. Yes, I am calling it the Pinwheel of Death because I can't think of a better name. But anyway, I will see you all next time.